And I'm hoping that you're not just trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I really do. Because you've been doing this since 6. Your history goes back to age 6.
Yes.
Don't you want to be more than inmate number 380348?
I do. And I know that I am.
I really want to root for him, but unfortunately, his crimes and what he got revoked for just makes it impossible. I'll share those details with you at the end.
Please state your name. Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Tyquan Davis, 380348.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Tyquan Davis, 380348. He is serving a sentence of 7 years for a violation of probation. The underlying charge is risk of injury to a child, conspiracy to commit sexual assault third, intercourse with kindred, and a separate charge for illegal possession of child pornography second. He is to register as a sex offender for 10 years. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of March 10th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows he has completed the short track sex offender program and he works as a janitor. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the very high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Davis, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole.
Okay. Well, I want to start by saying that as I was growing up, like I was emotionally stunted and without capacity of empathy for others. And I didn't realize the things that I was doing was hurting other people just for my own gratification. So I allowed that to basically let me do whatever I wanted without thinking about the consequences. Through the years, as going back and forth for violations of probation, I've grown to learn these things through different programs, not even just the programs that DOC wanted me to take. Like I'm talking about programs like separate treatment programs. Like I learned how to actually think before I do something and not be impulsive. I don't even like it's not even the fact that I messed up my life. I messed up somebody else's life. I hurt somebody that I was supposed to protect as they were growing up. And there's no amount of remorse or regret that can give them back what I took from them. And I live with that every day. And it's always on my mind. And that's just all I have to say.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that, Mr. Davis. Looks like he had some notes for today. I'm sure that was helpful. We're going to ask you some questions and then we will deliberate and give you our decision about parole at the end. Right? Member Tate?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It looks as if he had something that he wanted to read and decided to go speak from his heart instead. And I think that was the better way to go, to be honest with you. I have to be honest, Mr. Davis, I wasn't expecting you to come in and say any of those things. It really sounds as if you are starting to understand the impact that your behaviors not only have on you, but on other people involved. I know I heard you talk about the person that you were supposed to protect, who's the victim of the underlying offense, but instead you caused their harm, And the one thing that I really do have to ask you is, how long do you want this cycle to continue?
I don't want this cycle to continue.
So how did you get off the rotating wheel? because you've been serving this sentence for since 2010, almost 14 years. You've been back and forth, in and out of prison, not complying on probation, violating your probation, getting new charges, just insanity. How did you get off that wheel?
The first step is accountability. Like, after my 25th birthday, something clicked in me, and it was like, because I was out of compliance already. And after my 25th birthday, it was like, I don't want to do this no more, because now I have a child of my own, and being out of compliance, I can't be around her, because me being there is putting her in jeopardy. They raid the house. She got to see me get arrested. Like, it just wasn't for me anymore. And I decided that, all right, I'm going to turn myself in and just do what they want me to do, no matter how much I don't.
Was what you were supposed to be doing in the first place. You know, going to treatment. Do you understand that the treatment is not there for punishment? It's there to help you.
Yes.
I heard you say in your opening statement that your emotions were stunted, right? Isn't that what you said?
Yes.
So guess what? The only way to address that is through treatment. You have to start there. From reading your file and from talking with the licensed doctor here that works on these type cases, it was obvious that something occurred to stunt that emotion. Because what normal person would behave in this manner? And in my opinion, it's someone who suffered a lot of trauma in his life. And the only way to treat that, Mr. Davis, is to get yourself into treatment. That's the only thing that's going to help you. You've had 3 other opportunities to participate in your treatment out in the community, and you weren't showing up. Go ahead.
For this violation, I was in the Connections program.
I know you were negatively discharged though, because you got this.
Yes, but prior to that, I had just passed my maintenance polygraph. So I was on the discharge waiting list from the Connections program. So I was virtually finished.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. So regardless of whether or not you were finished, you didn't get it. It didn't click. And I'll tell you that because you went on to get additional charges.
Yes.
So whatever you did in that program before, you weren't paying attention because you're right back here again.
Yes.
You understand? So this time when you participate in that program, you really need to focus on not returning to prison. You really, really do. You're running out of opportunities. You got 7 years this time for this violation. Your criminal history is absolutely concerning. We know that you've participated in the sex offender treatment before because you've been in prison for the same offense for 14 years, in and out. The only person that can help you at this point, Mr. Davis, is you. And I've heard you say that I heard you express the pain that you're in. Unless you were just talking, unless you were just saying that because you thought it was something that we wanted to hear. How do you make your victim in this case see, I'm different? I'm sorry I hurt you that way. I never should have done it. I took my anger or my misplaced whatever out on you. You were innocent in all of this. I'm the culprit.
I showed through my actions like that I've learned and I can be a better person.
Yeah, I see. You haven't received a disciplinary infraction in almost 4 years now, 3 years. In August, it'll be 3 years, So you're capable. I just want you to switch. Do what you're doing right now out in the community so that you're not back in prison. No one can help you but you. Are you willing to accept the help?
I am willing to accept the help.
So are you willing to talk to your officer when you're struggling or, when you're in a relationship like you're supposed to do with, when you're out in the community? No more pornography on your phone and sneaking smartphones and all that stuff?
Yes. And that's part of the thing I had written down was I have to be able to use the support system that I have and the support system that's given to me as far as parole, the PO, and my mentors that I have. I have to be able to use them, express, like, tell them, listen, I feel that I'm about to have a lapse in some form of way, and I need you to help me get through it.
Mr. Davis, honestly, I'm impressed at what you're saying. And I'm hoping that you're not just trying to pull the wool over my eyes. I really do. Because you've been doing this since 6. Your history goes back to age 6.
Yes,
Don't you want to be more than inmate number 380348?
I do. And I know that I am.
Well, you're not showing it.
That's what I was about to say. I need to show it.
Yes, you do. Put your money where your mouth is. All right. I'm all set. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, I do have one more question. I'm sorry. You said when you were interviewed by the officer, you said that you wanted to be released to your mom. You gave a name of Keziah.
Yes,
I thought your mother's name was Earlene.
it is. She legally changed her name to Keziah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Davis, I agree with everything that panel member Page said, and I would also say, it's probably really easy to go through the motions of treatment, go fill the chair, but to really get anything out of it, only you can do, right? You can, unless you participate and honestly, accept
Yes,
what
to
is
apply it.
going on. Apply it, engage. Yeah. You have 2 mentors in the community?
Yes. One's a retired Army first sergeant, and one's an alderman in New Haven.
Okay. All right.
Who's the alderman?
Marcio Streeter of the 21st Ward.
All right. Well, it sounds like you have good support in the community, people that want what's best for you. So it's important for you to take advantage of that, right? Lean on those people when things get difficult.
Yes.
Ms. Chance?
I have no questions. Your retired sergeant did send a letter of support for you.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right. We will deliberate about your case now. Just give us a few moments. Panel member
Okay.
Page?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have to acknowledge that Mr. Davis rates out very high. He has a history of non-compliance and not reporting. In addition, he was on probation when he had heard this new offense. And when I was reviewing his file, I had him denied.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, well, what can we do to help this young man help himself? And I really think that the being supervised in the community under the SMU that parole provides will help him stay on the right track. And hopefully he will complete the treatment and finally be done with this sentence and move on with his life and be a dad. And everything else he aspires to be, but no more this mess. So I am going to vote to grant his request for discretionary parole. I think that he would benefit from it. I understand that he's a high risk. And I also know that we are taking a risk if we vote him out to parole. But I really think that that supervision would, he has a flat sentence. That's the first thing. The second thing is I think that the supervision would also be in the interest of public safety.
Agreed. So agreed. Ms. Chance?
I agree.
Okay, I agree too. For all that you have put out there, Ms. Page. And for conditions, community-based treatment for problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission, no pornography, and I had no computer access.
I think,
Yes, internet.
well, yeah, that, I think we're supposed to. Yeah, no pornography and enhanced monitoring, yes.
All right, no problem. So in the matter of Tyquan Davis, 380-348, this motion to grant parole on or after today, May 31st, 2024, with the following stipulations. Treatment for problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission, no pornography, and enhanced internet monitoring. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
I,
Well, good luck to you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you.
We want you to do well, and we want you to stop this cycle. So,
I appreciate the opportunity.
Good luck, Mr. Davis.
you're all set, Mr. Davis.
Thank
Make
you.
sure that you make us proud out there.
I will.
You know, again, I feel I wanted to root for him, but I can't, not with the information I have. And she says, I hope you're not pulling the wool over our eyes. And my answer to you is that you're pulling it over your own eyes. Even your Harvard level risk score says a high risk of recidivism, the highest possible risk. Now you're going to ignore your risk score? I mean, I guess they just think the whole thing's a joke themselves, but what? Yeah. Whew. He's originally locked up for 53A 72A-2, which is sexual assault third of a kindred, which is a relative. And you heard him maybe when the moment he spoke about the original crime, I should have been there to protect them, and I didn't. It's just a child, so all he got was 3 months. But you know what he was revoked for? What he's serving his time for now? Illegal possession of CP. He's revoked for having CP on his phone. This is 2021. Stop it with the, you want to be more than just a DOC number? You can, do you not get that he likes children? What is wrong with it? You're the parole board. You're supposed to know these things. Now, we don't have the details. We don't know what kind of image or how old. Maybe, I don't know what they're coming up with. I mean, there's no excuse. Well, was she 16? Was she 3? I mean, who knows? But probably, I don't think it makes a difference. There's plenty of adult content out there that he could have had on his phone, but he didn't. You don't think he's a danger? And it wasn't even brought up. It was like that, but I just don't get it. You know, there are people that are wired differently. There are people that like children. There are people that don't care if you're a relative child, and you need to just do a better job protecting. He gets a 3-month sentence, then he violates, gets back and out of this. He has all these different things, but the underlining offense that he got locked up for was 53A 196E, illegal possession of CP, second degree. He was sentenced to 78 months. His full term date would have been 2027. You know, thank you for sharing the info. Now, there's no other info. There's nothing else. Because it's just, it's just children. But here you go. You can't make this stuff up. And you don't need someone to pull the wool over your eyes if you're pulling it over yourself. You're sticking your head in the sand and you're just hoping for the best. But who benefits? The severely high-risk offender, or maybe you should just keep the citizen safe. Maybe just don't take a chance. Certain people, they stop that you gotta stop giving chances. Now, if he violates for any reason, we'll do his revocation hearing. We'll make sure you know about it. And with that, I'll let you go.
Why did you touch this child?
I was confused. I was confused.
What were you confused about? Because she was 10, so you weren't confused about her age, right?
It was just something that I shouldn't have done.
I agree, but I'm trying to understand why you did it. Because if you don't understand why you did it, it's hard to prevent yourself from doing it again.
Well, I was feeling lonely at that time.
We are about to watch a disturbing parole hearing of this stepfather who is up for parole after serving just 2.5 years. The survivor comes up to speak and she leaves a mic drop. I'll unpack it with the details at the end.
Required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Deborah Smith Palmieri,
Morning, Mike Paul.
Nancy Turner.
Please state your name and number.
Oh, I'm sorry, Andre Serrano,
What's your inmate number?
386511.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration for the parole application for Andre Serrano,
Yes.
386511. He is serving a sentence of 10 years. Execution suspended 5 years with 10 years probation for illegal sexual contact. Victim under 13. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of May 22nd, 2024 at 50%. There is victim input in this case by OBS and CSUS, Office of Victim Services. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and showed the offender has completed the following programs, which was none to date. Utilizing the statewide collaborative risk offender evaluation system, the offender overall scores for the SRT falls within the moderate range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender overall score for sexual offense recidivism fall within the low range. Mr. Serrano, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe to be granted parole. You may begin.
Can I speak now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is the longest time I ever served in any jail in my life, and I have a lot of coping skills due to the classes I took that I could apply in my life now. I also suffer a quadruple bypass, and I really want to get outside help. And I also have my 2 daughters that support me a lot that need my help, and I ask you, please, to help me out and grant me the parole.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Serrano. Are you currently in the sex offender treatment program?
No, I finished it.
When did you finish it?
2 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago? Okay, so
Yeah.
in May.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to ask you some questions now, and Ms. Turner will begin with the questioning.
Okay.
So, Mr. Serrano, your opening statement was really about why you want parole.
Yes.
Do you have anything to offer us as to why you deserve parole?
Yeah, well, I want to get a job. I want to be productive. I want to be a law-abiding citizen. I have, like I said, I have a big support from my 2 daughters. and my uncles and aunts. And this is the first time this ever happened to me. And like I said, I have a lot of scoping skills that I can use out there in the world that'll keep me out of trouble, stay on my meds, and just be a law-abiding citizens, man.
What does law-abiding citizen mean to you?
To me, it means to stay out of trouble, abide by the rules, and get a job and be successful in life.
What kind of employment are you going to get, sir?
Oh, I'm very good at mechanics. Drive forklifts. I'm a carpenter, painter, do flooring. I got a lot of skills under my belt, man. A lot of skills.
Have you had a job there in the facility?
No, ma'am. I've been in the waiting list. Never had one, but I do always volunteer for cleaning.
So you've been living on Social Security disability, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you been working while you receive benefits?
No.
Okay.
But I was told that I could get a part-time job as long as it's under 40 hours.
Okay. But
So
in the
that's
10 years you've been receiving benefits, you've never worked?
No, I haven't.
Do you have leads on jobs that you will apply for?
Excuse me, ma'am?
Have you done any research regarding jobs you might apply for?
Well, my son-in-law just opened up a mechanic garage, and he's waiting for me to get out before he could give me a job. He's a licensed mechanic, licensed garage.
Where's the garage?
This is in South Carolina.
Do you have a sponsor in South Carolina to live with?
No, I have my daughters is helping me out. My daughters helped me out getting a place to go, and my son-in-law is gonna give me a job as soon as I get there to help him out with mechanics.
Okay, you have to be earning a paycheck and paying taxes. You can't be paid under the table working for your son-in-law.
This is.
I'm just making sure you understand that, sir, since you haven't worked in a very long time.
Yes, this is.
We would not be able to parole you to South Carolina unless you had someone who is sponsoring you, allowing you to live in their home, who's perhaps a relative. Do you have one?
No, not here. I'm hoping to get parole to a parole house.
A halfway house.
Yes, a half house, and then
Here in Connecticut.
Yes, ma'am, here in Connecticut. Then from
So
there,
what kind of work in Connecticut are you going to get?
anything that's got to do with stocking, forklift driving, even in McDonald's.
But you haven't yet identified places to apply.
Yeah, I have not yet. Not yet.
So you have a minimal criminal history dating back 10 years now, larcenies and breach of peace. You have 2 violations of protective orders. Who had protective orders against you?
My ex-wife.
Was there violence on your part in the relationship?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Okay, well, a judge doesn't issue a protective order unless there's something going on.
Yeah. Because I violated, they gave me a protection order to stay away from it, and I went back to the house.
Why?
Cause we talked about it, and we thought I thought I wasn't gonna get caught by staying there, but I got caught again.
So part of being law abiding is you abide by orders from the court that tell you to show up, for a court hearing, and you have failure to appear, and you don't have contact with people you're not supposed to have contact with.
That's correct.
So, what have you learned from the participation in the short track for sex offenders there in the facility?
Well, I learned how to stay away from situations that would make me reoffend. That's one of the main things I learned.
And what
how
are
to-
those situations?
How to say, like, if you're in a situation you have to babysit somebody's kid, you say no. Like me
Does your
myself
daughter
now,
have children?
they older, yes. One got a young a 4-year-old, and the other one is 11, I believe, right now.
So you learn to keep yourself out of situations that might bring you to violating a child.
Yes,
What else
ma'am.
did you learn?
I also learned how to think ahead, how to think ahead before I reoffend, and also I don't know.
So if you're thinking ahead and you think you're in a situation that's risky, that might bring you to being inappropriate with a child, what would you do?
I'll turn around and just say no. Like I said, I learned a lot of skills. I know how to apply them in my life, and I know when to say no and how to get away from situations that'll make me reoffend again.
So, Mr. Serrano, why did you touch this child?
I was confused. I was confused.
What were you confused about? Because she was 10, so you weren't confused about her age, right?
It was just something that I shouldn't have done.
I agree, but I'm trying to understand why you did it. Because if you don't understand why you did it, it's hard to prevent yourself from doing it again.
Well, I was feeling lonely at that time. And I know not to feel lonely anymore because I'll be around people that's gonna help me out.
Were you having issues with the child's mother?
We always had issues. A lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, not physically, but verbally. She was bipolar. She didn't take her psych meds. I used to take my psych meds, but I guess it wasn't enough. But
What was your support system like, Mr. Serrano? Who did you have as friends?
right now,
No, back in when you were in the community.
only them.
Who?
Only them. My ex-wife and her kids and her mother-in-law. My mother-in-law.
Okay.
Not too many people.
Right. I'm just trying to understand how you could have addressed your feelings of loneliness aside from violating a child sexually. What would you do now if you were feeling lonely?
Well, since I know my scoping skills now, I'll go talk to my daughter, tell her how I feel. She'll support me. And just the main thing in my mind is just prevent that. I never did this before. I know I'm not going to do this anymore. I just want to be out with my family and with my support system.
Okay, but there's a long road ahead because you've got 10 years of probation.
Yes.
You've got 10 years on the sex offender registry, no matter what state you live in. And you're going to have to do more treatment out in the community for problem sexual behavior. So even though
Yes.
you want this to be over and done with, there's still a lot of things that have to happen, and things you have to do before you can really move on from this, because it
Yes.
caused a lot of harm.
Yes,
And you really need to develop strategies that will help you understand why you did this and how you cannot do this again.
yes, and I understand that. And with the support system I got out there waiting for me right now, I'm gonna be able to get my help, and I'll continue getting help. Because this
Right,
is
but
like,
you're describing a support system in South Carolina. What do you have here in Connecticut? Now that,
Well-
this crime is, you've been convicted of it, and all the people that, you described earlier in your support system probably have a lot of concerns about what you did to this child. So who's in your support system here in Connecticut?
I don't have anybody here because I was living in New York when I got caught. So in Connecticut, I don't have anybody but the programs that they're going to offer me and I'm willing to do.
Oh, good. Okay.
I'm a psychiatrist. I'm
Do
also,
you remember meeting with Officer Shamroy before this hearing? He interviewed you? Parole
Yes.
officer? Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay, so he prepared a report for us
Okay.
about everything about you and the questions the answers that you gave to his questions.
Okay.
Okay, so how long ago did you meet with Officer Shamroy, would you say?
Probably a month ago. I'm not too good in the memory.
Okay, yeah, that's a good ballpark. And then 2 weeks ago, you completed the program.
Yes.
So at what point did you decide to actually accept responsibility for this crime? Because when you were interviewed by Officer Shamroy, you still said you didn't do this.
That's not what I meant to say. I mean, I didn't mean to say that. I mean that I meant to do this. Not that I didn't do this, because I accept my responsibility.
When you were asked why you decided to commit the offense, you said you didn't commit it.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't mean to say it like that. I'm not too good.
well, you're
I mean,
doing well here today with
Yeah,
expressing
okay.
yourself. I'm just trying to understand
Okay.
when the change happened, because we want some confidence that the change is genuine and not just what you're saying to get parole.
No, what I'm trying to get here is genuine.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not trying to hurt anybody else. I apologize to my victims, to my family, to everybody that I harmed in this situation.
Well, that's good, because we didn't hear that in your opening statement. Okay,
I'm
so you
sorry.
apologized.
Yeah.
And you didn't speak at sentencing, so this might be the first time they're hearing an apology, if they're listening. So what do you think the harm was that you did to this child?
Excuse me?
How do you think the child suffered?
Tremendously.
In what ways?
She won't be able to trust nobody else in her life. She won't be able to, like I said, she won't be able to trust no man in her life right now or forever.
Well, for a long time, yeah.
Yeah,
Afraid
Afraid.
to trust. Mhm.
afraid to trust. It was,
She might have flashbacks, feel trauma from,
yes, from the incident.
well, it happened more than once, didn't it?
No, it didn't happen no more once. She said it did, but it was once.
Why would she make that up?
I don't know. I don't know.
So you have a standing criminal protective order against you until the year 2070.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand that?
Yes,
And that
ma'am.
means no contact of any kind, not through social media, not through a third person.
Yes.
How are you feeling today, Mr. Serrano?
I'm feeling nervous, a lot nervous.
But in general, how's your How's your mental health?
Well, my mental health, I'm taking
Without going into detail, just describe how you're feeling.
I'm feeling good.
Okay.
I'm
You
feeling
like
good.
the help that you've been getting?
Yes, I've been getting help. My psychiatrist been very helpful to me.
Okay, so when you're back in the community, where will you have supports for your mental health? Where will you go?
I will have to go to a private psychiatrist, enroll in his clinic, and go every week to it like I used to do before in Connecticut.
What town was that?
New Waterbury.
Well, I hope that you'll build some structure
Yes,
in your days between, the part-time work and maybe giving back to your community. Do you have any hobbies?
oh, I love her. Yes, I do have. I have RC cars. That's my favorite hobby. Remote control cars and remote control planes. My hobby. I also study.
Where are they now? Where's your collection?
It was back in New York City in my daughter's house. So I will have to build another collection. I mean, I play dominoes and I also go to Kingdom Hall. So that'll keep me alive and busy.
So when you're back in the community, Mr. Serrano, whether it's on discretionary parole or probation, you need to check in with your probation or parole officer about the places that you spend time in the community, because you're not going to be allowed to be in places where children gather. So when you want to play dominoes in the park, that might be a problem based on the fact that that park might be one that children play in. And with your being on the registry and having this conviction, it'll determine where you can spend time in the community and with whom.
Okay.
So follow the guidance. Always ask if you're unsure, but follow the guidance of your parole or your probation officer so that
Definitely.
you don't come back to prison, because you
Definitely.
have 5 years of this sentence hanging over your head.
Yes.
You violate on probation, you can be made to serve that 5 years inside.
Yes.
Take it seriously, sir,
Yeah, that will.
along with your registry on the sex offender.
Definitely.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Poole?
I thank you, Mr. Serrano. I just have one quick question. Would it be okay if we got a synopsis of your activity in the treatment program that you just completed?
Are you asking me? I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Would it be okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Poole. So, Mr. Serrano, we're now going to hear from the Office of Victim Services. So stay there and listen, just don't interrupt, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Jesus?
Yes, good morning, board members. I do have a statement from the victim, and it reads as follows. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity for me to give my statement. I feel like the defendant, Andres Serrano, shouldn't get released early because of the nightmares, the emotional trauma, the mental trauma, and the trust issues I inquired because of him. Before all of this ever happened, I had seen him as a father figure, and he made me believe I could feel safe around him and that I could trust him. And since I was a little girl, it worked pretty well. I honestly regret not telling my mom sooner about what had happened, but since I thought she would believe him over me, I just decided to stay quiet for many years. And it messed with me for so long that one day I just decided to share my story. I am so mad at myself for not telling anyone what had happened to me sooner, for believing that I was safe with him, for believing that he loved me as one of his own kids, for making me fall into his trap. I really wish I had seen the signs of what was happening, but there was someone who did, and that person was one of my aunts. And I believe if my aunt didn't catch the signs, something more dangerous could have happened to me. And I can't be more grateful for her seeing the signs early. I remember one day, me and him, we went to go get my mom from work, and we arrived a few minutes early. And he asked me if I wanted to drive the car while we waited for my mom. And I agreed. But what I noticed was that he wanted me to sit on his lap while I drove the car. And I was unsure about it because I always was taught by my grandfather never to sit on man's lap. But since I trusted him, I did it anyway. When I told my aunt what Andres did, she told me, quote, "I never liked him. He was always trying to make you sit on his lap, even when there was a space for you to sit down. And he got mad. And he got mad that I was always there to shut it down and took you away from him," end quote. He always favored you. You were his favorite since you were the younger daughter. And looking back at it all, once I got a little older, I finally realized that what my aunt was saying was true. Since I was younger, I was an easy target for him. I wish I was smarter back then and seen what he was trying to do. If I could go back in time, the first thing I would change would be when my mom and Andres first met. I also want to say that I will never forgive myself for waiting for so long to tell people what happened. And I will never forgive you for what you did to me. I want to say you're a sick man and that you deserve to stay in jail, rotting away in your cell. I will hate you for as long as I live. That's all I have, board members.
Thank you, Mr. Jesus. We appreciate the victim providing a statement for us today. All right, Mr. Serrano, we are going to deliberate about your case now. We'll give you our decision in just a few moments.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Turner?
So Mr. Serrano is making some progress in that there's some acceptance of responsibility. There's some minimization of it, but it's more than what was documented in the interview the parole officer conducted. He has a few insights into why he committed this offense, and the corresponding harm that he has caused. I wish he had a stronger release plan. He is end of sentence in August of 2026. I would have liked to have seen him complete the Voices program, which is on his OAP, and also a domestic violence program for the prior convictions that relates to. So I think his time could be well spent in those efforts. And given the statement from the victim, I'm going to vote to deny.
All right, thank you, Ms. Turner. Mr. Polk?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Serrano rates out his moderate.
It's actually low.
Hmm?
He's low.
He's low.
On the static 99.
Yeah. And that's something that's important for me to look at, as well as looking at criminal history. Absolutely taking into account the victim in this case, and the impact that his actions have had on the victim. For me, it's really important to have him in treatment in the community. certainly the monitoring that happens when somebody is in a special management unit is heightened. And he's with professionals in the community working through whatever issues there are, utilizing many other tools that the Center for the Treatment of Problem Sexual Behavior has. And for me, one of the goals here is not creating other victims, and being able to be in treatment and to continue to deal with what he needs to deal with in terms of the institutional-based treatment. He has reached his maximum level of support that they can, and education and treatment that they can get. Based upon those things, I would support parole.
And I did not mean to correct you before. He is a moderate on the scores in the static 90
Right,
alone.
right.
So, the offense, Mr. Serrano was in the community for a little bit before he was arrested, and seemed to be managing. He did participate in the sex offender treatment program at the facility. He did complete that program. He has the one disciplinary report. He has 10 years for the sex offender registry. And I do think that it's beneficial that he recognizes the need to be in mental health treatment in the community. I agree with Ms. Turner. I would like to have seen a little bit more robust release plan, but he can go to the halfway house and work his plan out from there. I too appreciate the victim coming forward. I thought her statement spoke of her trauma and her struggles over the years. However, I do think that Mr. Serrano would benefit from being in the sex offender treatment program in the community and participating in all levels of that treatment, as well as continuing his mental health services. So I also would be in favor of granting his parole today. Problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors.
Halfway house, mental health evaluation and
Yep.
treatment.
He's getting there. Mental health evaluation and treatment. And what was the last one? Victim, no victim, right, which is BC. And Ms. Turner, your reasons for denial?
I'll capture them in the written decision, but inadequate evidence of offender change, nature and circumstance, injury and impact.
Okay. And today's date is the 22nd. So in the matter of Andre Serrano, inmate number 386511, there's a motion to grant parole on or about May 22nd, 2024 with the following conditions. Halfway house, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary, problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with minors without the parole officer's permission, and no contact with the victim, BC. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Serrano, it was a majority decision. You were granted parole, and you will get all that information in writing.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Alina?
You want to can leave.
Okay. This concludes the hearing for Andrea Serrano, 386-511. You'll receive all this in writing, okay?
Thank you.
You're all set to go.
Thank you.
Can't make it up. You just can't make it up. And I can't. It's insane. It's just madness. We'll go over their bios again because I think I need a refresher. Because how is it possible that you can be so inept at your job? What? He should go out he should leave prison after serving 2.5 years so he can take some classes outside of prison? What happened to retribution? Retribution for the survivor, for the victim. How about that? You know, let me address the survivor just for 1 second. If there is any chance that she comes across this, I want you to know that there is a community of hundreds of thousands of us that think what we just saw is insane. That you were wronged by the system. You were wrong that he could even have received a sentence of this insanity. 10 years, 5 years suspended, and then released after 2.5 without taking any accountability at all. Being completely, it's so clear by watching this hearing that he is a danger. In this hearing, he has the audacity to call her, the survivor, a liar. One is, I would like to say, and I think the community shares this, is you did nothing wrong addressing the survivor now. To say you'll never forgive yourself, you did nothing wrong. You were a child. And I hope that you can take the anger and the hate that you have for him and steer it towards something that can make a difference, because anger and hate can be powerful if steered in the right direction. You really can't make this stuff up. You know, it starts off, he's a low risk score for sexual recidivism, where they come up with this stuff, the PhDs. I know we're not that smart. We're the sheeple, you know, we just have to believe in their algorithms. He's a moderate risk to reoffend because he has this long track record that dates back years. We'll go over that in a second. Now, let's remember, let's go through this hearing. Let's remember, he said, why did you touch a child? You know, the only competent one on this board, the only one who dissented, is Turner. Asked her. She did a great interview. You could tell she was disgusted. Why did you touch a child? Well, I was confused. What were you confused about? You know, you weren't confused that she was 10 years old. Oh, well, I was lonely. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know what to say. And then you find out, of course, he's getting paid by what, Social Security or whatever. Hasn't had a job in 10 years. He comes out saying he's going to get a job. Of course, he's not. How is it? You know, I see in the comment section, so many of you write that, you know, you're not felons. you have legitimate reasons to be on Social Security, and you can't get it. It's difficult to get. I've heard this from a lot of people, not outside of YouTube. How is it that we see so many that seem to just have it, and they're just, it just blows my mind. How, you know, there should be a rule. If once you're a felon, it should just be ripped away from you. Are you kidding me? There's plenty of good people to give it to. he starts off one sentence. Oh, I got all these skills. I'm a mechanic. I'm a forklift driver. I can do this. I can do that. And then it's in the 2 seconds later, he hasn't had a job in 10 years. Did you catch it for like a split second? He started to talk about how I think he said, I'm a psychiatrist, which I know what that's about, but I'm pretty sure he said that for like a second. And then they only make him register for 10 years. How does that make any sense? I mean, how does the sentence make any sense? How does the idea that he's paroled make any sense? How is it that he only has to register for 10 years? We're talking about a 10-year-old child, his stepdaughter. He's like what? He's like 40, I don't know, 43 years old or something. He could have another 30-40 years of doing this once his 10-year registry runs up. I mean, it's just madness. Who are they protecting? Who benefits by not making him a lifetime register? Who benefits by not giving him a legitimate sentence? It's not even like this guy, which I don't agree with. I think you should get a long sentence, but he has a record like they spoke about. He has a long record. This guy has been a waste on society as far as we can see. What reason or benefit does he have to be out amongst us? Who is making these decisions? And this is why we do this, because this is the only thing that will make, because when others see how insane and broken the system is, only at that point will the DAs and judges say, whoa, oh man, I mean, there might be repercussions for our actions. Maybe people are going to realize that we actually don't care anything about protecting society. We're just a bunch of paper pushers. Thank you, Richard, for this information. You can see the record. And by the way, when they say only 10 years, that's because Connecticut only goes back 10 years. It's I guess even the parole board only has 10 years worth of data. It's like some, law to protect the felon. You can only look back 10 years. So this is all that we have. I wouldn't be surprised if his record goes back another 2 decades or more. But he has violation of condition of release, 1 year jail, execution suspended. Remember how he said this was the longest sentence he ever got? Even with his career criminal, this is the longest sentence. So he gets probation on the first one. Interference, resisting with an officer. He has a violation of the protective order, the first one. And what he tells them, I didn't think that I would get caught. That's what he tells them when they say, why were you at her house? I didn't think I would get caught. Breach of peace, 2nd degree, sentenced 6 months in jail. Let's see, 2016 arrested, violation of protection order. That's the second one. 2018 criminal trespassing. That sounds like it could have been a violation of protection order. Maybe he got lucky. Sentenced 1 year jail, executed, suspended, blah, blah, blah. Then finally, this one, 2021, where it's what he did to little girl who viewed him as a father figure, sentenced 10 years jail, executed after 5, parole eligibility after 2.5. Wow. Now let's go over meet the board. So we have, gosh, it's hard to see that. It's always weird with the trying to get this to work, right? I don't know why sometimes it wants to be like this and sometimes it wants to be like that. So we're not going to look at Paul because Paul's an idiot. I know, right? I can't stand him. His experience as being a high school teacher, history teacher. And look, I think he probably would make like one of the best high school history teachers, like someone who would have an impact on someone on kids' lives as kids, you know, you remember forever and love. But that doesn't make him a good parole officer. Like he's just he's compassionate to all the wrong people. No compassion for the victims. Zero. So we have I'll just read it to you because I can't figure it out. So we have Nancy Turner, who dissented. She's the only one that seemed to have a little bit of common sense today. So she was appointed to the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles full-time board member in 2017. Prior to joining the board, she coordinated a statewide effort to address the needs of substance-exposed infants and their families at Advanced Behavioral Health, Inc., and served as a director of offender risk reduction for the Connecticut Coalition Against DV, where she also chaired as the Connecticut DV Fatality Review Committee. So, you know, as you can see, this is a quality board member. She has legitimate experience. She wasn't a high school history teacher. Now, previously, Ms. Turner worked in Washington, D.C. for the International Association of Chiefs of Police as senior program manager. During her 14 years with the IACP, she managed a series of federal grants to set standards for policy guide police response to an investigation of various crimes, including homicide, stalking, human trafficking, sexual assault, gun violence. In addition, Ms. Turner developed and delivered leadership training programs for major city, state, rural, and campus law enforcement executives. Ms. Turner taught on faculty of George Washington University from 1990 to 2005. So that'll make her a professor, right? Previously lobbied Congress for National Coalition Against DV. She earned a bachelor's and master's. Okay, so that's quality. And then we had what was it, Palmieri, who seems to be hit and miss. I can't tell with Palmieri, but let's see. They're all kind of hit and miss. That's the truth. So Palmieri was appointed to the board as part-time in July 2020. She retired, supervised United States probation officer in the District of Connecticut in 2019. She served for 28 years. She's like a Mr. Freeman. Throughout her career, she specialized in working at high-risk offenders. Also, Ms. Wise was a similar position, including substance abuse and mental health clients. In addition, she was a treatment contract specialist responsible for the solicitation, subsequent monitoring of evidence-based substance abuse and mental health services. In District 2008, she led the implementation in Connecticut, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's also a very highly qualified job, but I don't know. She's completely failed on this one. And what else are we supposed to say on this? It's you find out, oh, he gets really excited. I like to build RC cars, but you know, my collection was in New York. I have to rebuild it. It's like, great, wow, someone who grooms children, that plays with children's cars. That's great. Another tool in his toolbox to help groom. I mean, one is to teach a 10-year-old how to drive, and two would be is to let a 10-year-old play with your RC cars. And don't worry, in 10 years he won't be on the registry, so he'll be able to do that to his heart's desire. Think about that. And I'm sure, of course, because of the programs he took, you know, in prison and on the outside, and he knows to say no when people offer him to babysit, that he's going to no longer be a threat to society. It's clear. It's clear. I mean, our decision makers, you know, our district attorneys and our judges and our parole board members and all the legislation, that's all put in place to protect the sex offender. Good to know. But we know that because we see it. That's the truth. And that's why we do this. Thank you, Richard. And with that, I'll let you go.
You know, so what was your frame of mind at that time? What would possess you to put a gun to someone's head over $10?
At the time, you know, my mind wasn't right. You know what I mean? I was going through some things. And then not only that, I got blamed in the trial for that situation. I lost trial, I blew trial.
Well, why did you go to trial? Let's talk about that. Why'd you go to trial?
Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Tyrea Jackson, 259-678.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Tyquan Jackson, inmate number 259-678. He is serving a sentence of 20 years execution suspended after 17 years with 5 years probation for attempted murder, assault first, criminal possession of a firearm, and intimidating a witness. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of August 30th, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender that has been reviewed and shown the offender has completed the following programs. Mr. Jackson has maintained employment throughout incarceration and worked as a CNA during his period of incarceration in Bridgeport as a correctional assistant. He has completed Tier 2, Embracing Fatherhood, Voices, Culinary Arts Certificate, and PCA Certificate. Utilizing the statewide collective from the risk evaluation system, the offender will walk forward on the party falls within the low range of risk for recidivism. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, Mr. Jackson.
How you doing? I should be granted parole. I changed all the way around. I did all my programs. I was ticket free 11 years. I've been working hard. I follow all the rules in DOC. I'm just asking the board of parole just to give me a chance. Because I've been going away for so long. I just like to be with my family, and I got remorse for the victim as well. The victim, I got remorse, and I'm just ready to be with my family. I take all responsibility for my actions, and I'm just asking the board again is just give me a chance to be with my family. And be back into society again and give back to the community. And
Go ahead.
And just give me a chance where I can do my training at the PCA, just be able to step out and have a job out there and hit the ground running and just being successful. And once again, it got remorse on the victim. The victim counts. And I learned my lesson. And that's pretty much what I got for now.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We're going to ask you some questions, okay? And then we'll deliberate and give you our decision.
All right, thank you.
So you mentioned the victim. Have you thought about what the victim might have gone through, during and after, since, as a result of your actions?
Yes, I know. It was bad, but
I mean, this was crazy. Over $10.
Yeah, it was a bad impact on the victim. That's what my heart goes out to, more the victim, worrying about that victim.
I mean, that's some scary stuff to have a gun put to your head and then go off. Your victim probably thought they were going to die. And you're very lucky to be here because you missed. Obviously, you didn't shoot the victim in the head, or you wouldn't be before us for a parole hearing. Have you thought about that?
I think about everything. The past years I've been here, everything reflects on me. I think about everything, the victim family, my family, and things that have been done that wasn't right.
So what was your frame of mind at that time? What would possess you to put a gun to someone's head over $10?
At the time, my mind wasn't right. You know what I mean? I was going through some things. Not only that, I got blamed in the trial for that situation. I lost trial, I blew trial.
Well, why did you go to trial? Let's talk about that. Why did you go to trial?
Why did I go to trial? Because I got blamed for something that, they said I didn't do.
What was that?
I got blamed for saying that somebody got shot in the face with a shotgun.
I'm confused. I'm so confused. So you're talking about a different case here?
No, the same case. I'm saying that's how I got the time that I got. I blew trial. I got accused, falsely accused.
So you're saying that you didn't put a gun to someone's head over $10 of drug money?
I ain't saying that. I'm not saying that I didn't. I'm just saying it was just a situation where I knew it just wasn't right. And I'm not saying I didn't have a weapon that nobody had. I never said that.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not understanding your point, sir. I guess I can ask you more directly.
Yeah.
Did you put a gun to this victim's head over a bad $10 drug deal?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so then why did you take the case to trial?
At the time, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I was in a bad area. You know, I sat these years. I'm a changed person. I'm not the same person.
Yeah, no, I understand. You said that. Okay. So were you not ready to take responsibility at that time? Is that why you went to trial?
I was ready. At the time, yeah, you could say that. I wasn't. You could say.
Huh. Okay. And then you went on to send letters to witness from prison. Why did you do that?
Letters from prison?
Yeah, you sent letters to one of the witnesses.
Yep.
Because you didn't want them to testify. Did you know that you're not allowed to do that?
I didn't know at the time.
But you were kind of threatening, in those letters, and you were intimidating a witness.
It happened. I'm telling the truth.
I'm glad. I want you to tell the truth. No, definitely. I mean, you've obviously come a long way since then, right? You've been incarcerated. You've been incarcerated for years now. And last year you got a sentence modification. You got your sentence lowered from 20 to 17 years because the court recognized your efforts. You've been doing well. You've taken good programs, Tier 2, Embracing Fatherhood, Voices. You got some certificates, culinary arts, PCA. And you did some work as a CNA. How long did you do that?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. So you were taking care of some sick people, right? In the facility?
Yes.
Yeah.
A few people that I experienced throughout these years, that the inmates that's really, really sick, that got cancer, I took care of them the most. And a few inmates died on me that I was close to. And I took care of. I never really experienced nothing like that in life. And that was my changeover on giving back and just staying focused on helping them people out by giving back, doing what's right.
Good. Yeah, I'm happy to see that you did give back because you certainly did take from the community. You're working as a tierman now, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, really, in all these years, no tickets. You just had the one 10 years ago for refusing housing, nothing major. So that's great. And this is your first incarceration. So you can certainly overcome this, sir. And we want you to do that. You can't go back to selling drugs. So what's your plan for work when you get out?
My plan for work is I took the CNA's course and I'm planning on getting in that medical field and using the potential to get where I need to be in life.
And then you're giving back, and we really need the help in the medical field right now. So, and it's a great career path.
Yeah, it ain't too many males who's doing that, and I'm willing to do that when I get out there because I know it's good money in that. Definitely is.
And you want to go live with your sister, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have other positive supports in the community?
Yes, like I got my sister, my mother. I got I'm also a grandfather. I got a grandson that's 2 years old. My daughter. I'm just ready to get back to the family because I've been gone for quite some time, and I asking the Board of Parole just to give me a chance. That's pretty much what we at.
Thank you for answering my questions. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Palmieri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Jackson, you mentioned a couple of times that you're remorseful, you feel remorse. What does it mean to be remorseful? What do you think that means?
Remorseful is me it's for the victim that it's a mistake that happened here and that I learned from it and not go back out there to the same thing trying to do it again. and repeat it. You know what I'm saying? That's remorse. All remorse from my heart goes to the victim. Because it shouldn't have been done. I understand, and I learned from that mistake. And I have to put myself in these type of situations again.
Excellent. I'm going to just say that you really have two victims, right? You have the victim with the firearm, but the victim from the witness intimidation is also a victim. Very often the police need people to speak up in the community to help keep the community safe. You just mentioned you have children, grandchildren, without people who have the courage to speak up, the neighborhoods are going to be, like the wild, wild west.
Yes,
right?
That's why. Yes, that's why I say give back to the community. I'm willing to do whatever, even if it's the helping the kids, talking to them so they won't go down that road, being positive. At least if I can't get 20, I can at least get 1 or 2 to listen.
Excellent. And we hear a lot of people tell us that. I'm hopeful because you have spent a long time in jail, a good part of that you will be able to, that you will make it an effort to go out and give back, even if it's just for that one young person, right? I think, and giving back as a CNA is also a great way to do that. As the chair said, the medical profession is struggling for help, and CNAs specifically.
Especially to the sick and the elderly. That's what my heart go out to. I want to help them as much as I can and just take care of them, treat them right, make sure they eating proper, they getting the nourishments that they need in life. Because they don't be having too much long to go. So I want to be there to be like, well, you know what? I took care of such and such for so many years that I made sure they was all right or she was all right. You know what I mean? By doing the right thing.
And by doing the right thing, you'll be paying it forward, right? You'll be showing remorse and letting the victims in your case know that you are a different person.
Yes, that I changed.
All right. Well done. Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you,
Madam Chair.
All right. Give us a few minutes to talk about your case, and we're going to give you our decision real soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Jackson's been incarcerated over 12 years now, and he's taken good programs. He's worked the whole time, did some CNA work, and got some skills that he can carry out into the community. He hasn't been a disciplinary problem, and I think he could certainly benefit given that he's been down so long from some parole supervision in the community. I'd be in favor of granting. He has a good release plan too. Ms. Palmieri?
I would agree with all that, Madam Chair.
All right, I have, there's 2 victims and co-defendant. Anything further?
Nothing else.
All right. In the matter of Tirea Jackson, inmate number 259678. I'll move to grant parole effective August 30th, 2024 with the following conditions. You're to have no contact with your victim, initials MGU, a general no contact with the victim of the intimidation of witness, initials UL, and no contact with your co-defendant, Juan Carlos Cardona. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, sir, you'll get this in writing. Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for y'all giving me a chance.
We wish you the best.
I have
Keep
a blessed day.
hard, okay? Go give back.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so there's no appeal, there's no court transcripts, there's nothing to go over in detail. It's interesting because I kind of liked him and just he seems like a nice guy, but when you take a step back and think about that all these years later, even at his parole hearing, he still claims that he's wrongfully convicted. He just can't help it. He says, well, I was wrongfully convicted at trial. And it's like, well, which one is it? I mean, are you claiming your innocence? Are you innocent? Or are you still in denial that it even happened? And it's hard to get over that. You know, if this was Louisiana, it's not for sure because it depends who's on the board. But we have seen them release people in crazy situations. So I can't for sure say it. Again, it depends who's on the board. But so, I mean, he got, I guess he's been serving since 2012. So he's been in for what, 12 years. It's not, you know, was it attempted homicide? I mean, like the official charge here says criminal attempt that Richard has. But it seems that he shot at a man's head with a shotgun, obviously missed, as they pointed out, over $10. And then, of course, he tried to do witness intimidation. His opening statement, Richard has it in the notes here. I feel remorse, and I think, or it was like, I think I feel remorse. I don't know. What do you think in this case? I after seeing so many bad hearings like the one before, it is hard for me to feel to get worked up over this. No one lost a life. We don't have the victim stating anything. And he did do very well in prison. One write-up compared to what we see in Connecticut, that is quite amazing. I mean, it's amazing anywhere, I would think. And he did do the 2 years of helping people who are dying, which is incredibly difficult. Just a horrible opening statement, really, is the problem there. But, you know, maybe he's just not very articulate. Anyways, love to hear your thoughts. He doesn't get actually paroled until Richard has it paroled in 8/30/2024. So at the time of this recording, it would be 2 months and 6 days. And hopefully we don't see him again. Hopefully we don't. But thank you for being here. And with that, I'll let you go.